Welcome, everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Planning Economic Development, date of April 17th, 2024 at 6 p.m. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. I have a first and a second for the approval of the minutes.
Make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Next item is privilege of the floor. Do we have anybody here tonight that would like to speak privilege of the floor? And if you guys could introduce yourselves when you get seated.
Just a moment.
For the audience.
We have some handouts for you.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, if you could introduce yourselves, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is David Dubois. I work within the Department of Planning and Development, and I'm Chautauqua County Watershed Coordinator. And with me tonight is...
Good evening, my name is Taylor West, and I work for the Chautauqua Lake and Watershed Management Alliance as their project manager.
Last year in June, we came to you with a request to apply to the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation for a grant to study the watershed of Bemis Creek. And in a resolution, we sought your approval to make that application and to commit $5,000 from the occupancy tax reserve to fund our local share. I'm here to tell you that we've won, and we're ready to move forward. And we need to amend our budget to bring these funds into the watershed budget. And Taylor West is here to explain to you exactly what we're going to try to do.
Just one point of order. Would this be resolution number 2 on the agenda tonight?
Pardon me?
Would this be resolution number 2 on the agenda? Because I
Yeah.
didn't read the resolution. Okay. Because we didn't go over resolution number 1, but I can do that after this resolution. So let me read the resolution first, and then we'll let you folks go. The resolution reads, amend 2024 budget to accept NYSDEC grant funds for designate local match for Bemis Creek non-point source planning grant. Thank you. Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay, Taylor. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So I'm here to speak about the Bemis Creek Stream Sediment and Debris Management Plan Non-Point Source Planning Grant. So as Dave stated, the Alliance worked with the county around July of last year to apply for this New York State DEC Non-Point Source Planning Grant funding in the amount of $50,000. The grant was announced that it was awarded to the county. And basically what this stream sediment and debris management would do is assess all of the Bemis Creek drainage and identify areas of stream sediment and debris accumulation that contribute to flood risk. And then as an output, it would provide recommendations to reduce those risks. And the plan is prioritized, or the creek segment is prioritized into 3 tiers. Tier 1 we would anticipate would receive the highest level of investigation, as that area has recently experienced widespread flooding. So that would be from near Bridgeview at the bridge of Route 430 down to the mouth of Bemis Creek into Chautauqua Lake. Tier 2 would be from that bridge near Bridgeview up to New York State Route 954H, or that expressway version of 430 that goes by Long Point. That would receive a little bit less detailed of an investigation, but still areas within that segment have been documented to experience flooding. And then Tier 3 would be the rest of the watershed that would likely receive more of a desktop level review instead of potentially more, survey grade or more detailed level review for those other 2 segments. So the hope would be to identify all of the areas that are experiencing excess accumulations of stream sediment and debris, and hopefully come up with some recommendations to reduce those accumulations and positively impact the folks in that area from reduced flood risk.
Sounds like a worthwhile project.
Pardon me?
Sounds like a worthwhile project, Dave.
I haven't had time hearing you tonight. I'm
Sounds
sorry.
like a worthwhile project.
Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you, this fits well with the state's format or process for delivering project funding. I mean, oftentimes they'll identify a need statewide, and they'll provide an opportunity to apply for funding to do feasibility studies. And that ensures that the state gets the kind of information they need for future grant opportunities. And we have strong feelings that probably next year that an opportunity to fund a project such as this will be in CFAs. So it fits the mold, and we're optimistic.
Great.
And, I want to say one more thing. We've been working with the Alliance now for nearly a decade, and I feel that they're just doing an awesome job. I think former county executive Vince Horgan would call them a force multiplier. Prior to having the Alliance, Chautauqua Lake often just sucked all the air out of the room, and we didn't have time to do anything else. And now we're doing some amazing things. And just this year, going into 2024, we're looking at over $800,000 in grant opportunities for our members and stakeholders. So
That's great.
it's worked out quite well.
Good, very good.
I'll just
Chairman?
add one thing to that is the management plan will follow a pretty rigid template that's prescribed by the DEC. It's the stream sediment and debris management plan outline. It's on the New York State DEC's website on their non-point source planning grant page. So if you're interested to kind of see the framework of what the engineer would look at on a top level view, that could be a good resource.
Sure. Mr. Larson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to get an idea exactly where Bemis Creek is, does this run along the edge of the Bemis Golf Course?
It does.
And I noticed maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, if I were the owner of the Bemis Golf Course, I'd be concerned that a good part of my golf course property is in danger of being eaten away by this at times raging creek. Is this project ultimately going to ameliorate some of the erosion that is happening to the edge of the Bemis Golf Course, do you know?
Perhaps. Really our thought is to help alleviate some of the flooding down towards the mouth. Naturally, the sediment that comes from the uplands gets deposited down there as you drive over the I-86 bridge. When the lake level is a little lower, you can see an island building up out there, and that restricts the amount of water, decreases the hydraulic capacity of the stream channel. We've been talking with the state for a number of years about getting a dredging project going up there. However, they're concerned about what the impacts for that will be. There's something they call head cut. If you take sediment out of a stream, the sediment above it will rush down and fill that void. And dredging is not a long-term solution by any means. It needs to be done periodically. It's almost a maintenance thing. So if we do get the state to invest in maintenance, they want to make sure that we're doing everything we can in the uplands to stem that flow of sediment and debris.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just 2 points.
Thank you.
One, Dave, is this is the same creek that you guys have done significant riffraff implementation last summer as you're going up Alderson Trail Road? It's the same creek, correct? Same watershed? I believe it is. That was maybe a soil and water where the limestone was placed.
Mm-hmm.
You just up from the large Bemis Point Church as you're heading up
Yeah.
to Tellery Center. Bemis
Yep.
Point Church on the left, across that little bridge. It's that stream bed. Seems like there's been significant work done in that
Yep.
last summer. So it's
That's part of it.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
part of it.
And second, you have a vendor. You guys have a vendor identified to do this study.
Not currently,
Not currently.
but the
RFPs
county's
will be sent
procurement,
out, sure.
policies will be followed in terms of
And you
securing
will
a
work hand
qualified
in hand
vendor.
with them.
Pardon?
You will work hand in hand, yourself and Dave, with this vendor, and do a little on-site work and such with them.
This
Is
would
that
largely be just a study. just to study the issues that,
Okay.
excess stream sediment debris that contribute to flood risk. The next phase, which would likely be through a water quality improvement program grant or an associated, program, that would be the physical implementation of the plan.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Taylor, is it correct that the non-point source planning grant was initiated last year for the first time?
This was the first point source planning grant option for a stream sediment debris management plan.
So this is the first time that this has been available in New York State, and you landed a grant the first time it was available. So my appreciation and congratulations to you for your work on that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Do you have any more questions, committee? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Carried. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go back to the first resolution that was on the agenda, which is resolution number 94-24. This resolution was referred back to committee by the full legislature last month on March 27th. But it states authorized to use Chautauqua County 2% occupancy tax reserves funds for removal of damaged steel dock structures from Dunkirk Harbor. Are you gonna speak on this, Dave?
I can briefly. We heard just a few minutes ago that Dunkirk's unable to attend tonight, but they do plan to be at tomorrow morning's audit and control meeting to discuss.
Okay, well, with that note, I'm gonna recommend that we take no action on the resolution tonight.
We can take it up in May if
In May,
it need be, yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
That work?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Resolution number 3 is accept grant funding from the New York State Department of State for Chautauqua County countywide resiliency plan and amend the 2024 budget. Do we have anyone to speak on that? Can you please announce yourself?
Hello, Rebecca Worster. I'm the planning coordinator for the county's Department of Planning and Development. So tonight's resolution is accepting some grant funding that we were able to acquire and amend our budget in regards to creating a countywide resiliency plan. This past summer, the Department of State had a second round of Smart Growth Countywide Resiliency Program funding to complete this plan. And with our recent hazard mitigation plan completed, we thought that this would be a nice next step because this really takes the hazard mitigation plan to the next level by really identifying recommended projects, I'd say. There's going to be a lot of crossover between the two. We'll do a county profile and assessment inventory of all of our existing infrastructure, health and social, natural, cultural, and economic assets in the county, and look how they may have been impacted by different extreme weather events such as flooding and extreme weather surges that we've been seeing. Needs and opportunities assessments will be very similar again to the hazard mitigation plan, really looking at a summary of climate-related needs and challenges facing our county and getting that information from specific stakeholder interviews, community feedback, and findings from our county profile. And then doing a risk assessment and analysis to really understand which assets are most vulnerable due to risks, particularly, like I said, with flooding, extreme heat, social vulnerability. But the meat and potatoes of this will be the recommended projects, identifying projects similar to the Bemis Creek project and others that we can have within our plan and then go after grant funding to do studies like that one and possibly even implementation projects as well. So it's really setting us up. We think that the state is thinking about that as well and kind of setting this up as a kind of a phase 1 planning piece, but then maybe phase 2 is having some grant funding available for the specific projects. So that's really important when thinking about and planning. And then for the actual funding side of things, the grant will be for $144,000. 16,000 is the match. We split it up over a 2-year period, and we do have 8,000 budgeted in our contractuals this year for that match, and then 8,000 next year. So we made sure to account for that, and hopefully with budget next year, we'll be able to account for that as well. So that's, I think, it in a nutshell.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Do we have any,
Yeah, just real quick.
go ahead, John,
Mr. Chairman.
please, thank you.
So you'll be working with a consultant on this?
Yes, yeah, we'll go through the RFP, procurement, the whole process. Yep.
Thank you.
I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but Rebecca, congratulations on landing a CFA grant for this.
Thank you.
This is a great continuation of the planning efforts that you've been doing. And again, on behalf of the taxpayers, congratulations on landing another grant.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
all.
you, thank you. Thanks. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Thank you. Okay, we're on to resolution number 4 tonight, is to designate Chautauqua County as lead agency responsible for state environmental quality review, state-funded snowmobile trail updates for 2024. Can you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, I'm Lauren Sharp. I'm a junior planner with the Department of Planning and Development. So the resolution you have tonight designates Chautauqua County as the lead agency for the listed trails in the resolution. We go through this every year. Snowmobile clubs are required to update their GPS every 3 years. If they move the trail due to landowner issues, or maybe it's wet, or they lost permission to be there, the state requires us to do a seeker for them to maintain compliant with the program and keep receiving their funding. So this is a list of all of the trails that were scheduled to be updated this year. Not every single one needs a seeker, but some need more than one because there were multiple changes in different townships. So next month you'll see all of the seekers that are associated with this program. Questions?
I do have one. Who actually does the actual work for the GPS and, for the pins and things?
The snowmobile club. So each snowmobile club has different contacts that do different parts. So sometimes it's a treasurer, sometimes it's a groomer operator who does the GPS collection, sometimes it's just a regular volunteer. Chautauqua Lake Snowmobile Club still uses like a handheld GPS unit. I go pick it up and then I process all the data.
Okay.
Some of my clubs have transitioned over to like a smartphone app, and they just, when they're done GPSing, there's just an email in my inbox that there's the data. So they.
That was my next question, is how do you get the information? That was my question, so, and you answered it, so thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
It's an awful lot of work, and it's appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And
All
she's
those in
good
favor?
at it, too.
She is. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Thank you very much. The next resolution is accept state environmental quality review of a proposed 2024 agricultural district inclusions.
So every year, the county's required to hold an inclusion period. We hold it the month of January for anybody who wants to have their land added to the ag district. That's then reviewed by the County Agricultural and Farmland Protection Board. Once they review it, they send the recommendation to you, but as part of that, a seeker is required. There's a special form that the county adopted and got approval from the state to use that's specific to agricultural districts. And that was completed, and you had a draft that was with the pre-file. There is one question that was not answered, which is number 10, which is comments from municipalities within the county. So in the case of this ag district, the municipalities that were affected included Busti, Chautauqua, Kyneton, and Westfield. So after last month's meeting, when we set lead agency, we sent notification to all those municipalities, and they technically have until the 23rd to submit comments, and then your meeting's the 24th to accept the seeker. So if any comments are received, they'll be added there. Otherwise, the checkbox of no will be selected before signature.
Well, thanks for that information. Do we have any questions?
Chairman?
Yes.
It's been a long time since I had any reason to be involved or aware of agricultural districts. Could you just share with us, for the record, the main 2 or 3 reasons, benefits that a landowner gets by having the land put in an ag district?
So there's, the main one that we always, when we tell people they should join, like be in the ag district, is it's only for operating farms. So there's still land that's in the ag district that's no longer in operation. But if you're an operating farm as defined by Ag and Markets, one of the benefits is the review of local laws. So if you have a local law that's maybe overly restrictive towards agriculture, the state Ag and Markets has put out guidance that's to benefit agricultural producers that essentially supersedes the local municipality. The one that often comes to mind is fencing. Most municipalities will tell in their zoning might have a setback for fencing. If the fencing's for agricultural use in an ag district, that fence can be on the property line so they can maximize the use of that land. There's also the ag value assessment program. When ag districts rolled out, that was the first thing that people also enrolled in. They kind of came out together. You get your land evaluated at an agricultural value, which is slightly lower than the regular full market value. If you are in the ag district and you take your land out of agricultural production, you owe the difference back for so many years. If you are not in the ag district and you take your land out of agricultural production and you had that ag value assessment, it's even more years that you owe back. So there's a monetary thing.
Excuse me, so there's checks and balances.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
If you know, since you've been involved, has there been much controversy with agricultural uses and local odor ordinances? Have there been farm operations that use the state ag district designation to tell the township or village what they can do with their smell ordinance?
I haven't heard of any. There is a caveat that if it's a health or safety issue, that ag districts won't come in. So for instance, if a tractor is tracking mud onto the road, that's a safety issue. The farmer's still required to clean it up. But the municipality can't say the farmer can't use the road. They just have to keep it as clean as a regular vehicle would. But I haven't heard of any of the odor ones. Typically, if you buy property in an ag district, like a home, when you sign your closing paperwork, there's a disclosure in there that you're in the ag district, and that's typically to tell you, like, hey, there might be odors, and hey, there's gonna be slow-moving vehicles and that kind of thing on the road.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you have any more questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. On to resolution number 6. And it is determination of Chautauqua County Legislature on proposed 2024 agricultural district inclusions.
So what this resolution does is actually recommend the 7 parcels be added into the ag district. This will be adopted after the public hearing at this month's legislature meeting. So if there's any public comments or anything that the legislators need to know before they adopt this, those will all be taken into consideration. But this is what the state requires for these parcels to be formally adopted.
Okay. This is a state requirement then?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions, committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you very much.
Okay, it brings us to the
One more.
last item on the agenda, which is other. Do we have any other topics on other we'd like to discuss? Committee.
Just one thing, Mr. Chairman, at last month's meeting, there was a presentation, led mostly by Mark Geis. In that presentation, there's a printed allegation that the work of the county and the IDA last year would total full-time equivalent permanent jobs to be created 574. You may remember on the record I asked Mr. Geis to provide our committee with a list of those employers and the number of jobs they're supposed to create. So, you know, if it's beyond the record tonight, I'd request that by our next committee meeting, he give us that list.
I believe an email was sent out.
I didn't see one.
Didn't see an email. I did talk to Mr. Geis briefly. He made the request of wanting to come in the month of June and bring everybody up to speed on all projects.
Mhm.
And if that's acceptable, that's what I will put on the agenda for
That-
June.
That's
If that
fine,
works.
yeah.
And we'll answer all the questions that you may have.
But he agreed, as I recall, he agreed that when the allegations made of 574 promised jobs, that who promised them is
I think he
public
broke it
record.
down, I think he broke it down per business, I wanna say that he
Yeah.
did.
Yes, he did.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
sent
I
it,
didn't-
and you're copied on it, Fred.
What date was that?
He was sent it at 8:02 this morning.
Yeah,
This morning.
yes, yeah,
You were in
so,
the gym.
Yeah, I wish.
so that was his sent, I think it kinda breaks down and may answer your questions.
That, well,
you
that
asked,
could
so.
be.
And
Thank you.
then I think in June, I think Mark will come in and, with his team, and he will just give a brief update,
Thank you.
okay?
Yep.
If that's acceptable, I'll be,
I
all set?
find that acceptable.
okay, well, I'll be looking, for a motion to adjourn, if that's the case.
I will make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Well, meeting's adjourned, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You know, they have, that Bemis Creek is a really, really big deal.
Isn't it,